Hello, hello, hello. It is I. I'm at the bar and I'm working hard. So, last night I was on uh, clobbering time with John's Longbox and Marcus. Had a good time. I gotta say, I'm really enjoying John's show on Friday nights. I don't know. Maybe I'll make that a regular thing. Depends. Fridays are hard for me to really whether to stream or not because there's a lot going on with Miss Stippling and I, and a lot of times like Friday night is like our time, our personal time. So I might be doing. I like doing John's long box when he does his clobbering time, but I don't know. I may not be able to do it on a regular basis. All depends what's going on with us. Um, I think also John has the ability if he wants to really be able to use this as like an kind of like an outreach program, and I can actually see like uh, using that. Let's say he does a Green Lantern versus Quasar, okay, um, and he reaches out like, "Hey Andy, do you want to get in on this episode?" And Andy Smith, having done both those titles, he could chime in and be like, really get into this again. Just talk comics. It's not one of those deals where it's like it's just old school talking comics in the comic book store, and so I can see him like being able to use that to like, specifically with artists that um, have a campaign going on. Maybe not big campaigns, but like small campaigns. Like, hey, I'll let you come on my show. This is what the topic is. I'll give you the ability at the end and the very beginning to pimp your book. But other than that, let's just focus on uh, the topic at hand. And the one thing I really did like was that there's a lot of respect, even though there can be a difference in opinion, which we need more of in today's society. And that's one of the things I really liked about John's Longbox. So if you have a chance, check it out. Um, I wasn't able to get on because I was having computer issues with my phone, but I really like the one they did, I think last week, which was who would win, the Federation versus the Imperial Alliance. And I made certain that my opinion was known, and uh, I was for that. I don't see the I don't see the Federation be able to beat the Empire. And then, of course, last night's was who could beat who. Uh, Hellboy versus Spawn. Now, I told him I didn't have a dog in the fight because I'm not really big on either of those characters. I like the artwork, but I only have like a handful of issues from of a handful of issues of Spawn, and I only have like one book really of Hellboy. But it was still overall, it was still a really good show. Even when we drifted and talked about other topics, it was still really, really good. Excuse me, guys. My apologies. But it's still a really good show. Um, and then before that, I was listening to both Andy Smith during the day, and then uh, the Zayd brothers, and they are bringing up the subject of with their next campaign. They're talking about having their campaign on multiple platforms for fundraising, which I am all for. Anybody who watches my channel on a regular basis knows this. Okay, I'm a big person for having your campaign on multiple platforms to reach the maximum number of backers. Because as we all know, um, there are people that they go just to Kickstarter, and then there's the people that, like in ours, you gotta remember, a lot of people don't know that Kickstarter exists. Okay, but it has a very loyal backing. The perfect example I use is this: we'll use grocery stores. Okay, um, if you live in Jersey, okay, There is Acme and there's ShopRite. Okay? And you have the people that just shop at ShopRite and you have the people that just shop at Acme. Well, why is that? Well, you have some people they shop at depending on their where they live and their location to the grocery store. Has also to do with some people with where what their commute is. Okay? Perfect example is when I lived in North Jersey. I preferred going to Acme. Acme was a little out of my way, but it was en route to where I was working, so I could stop there on the way to or on the way from the grocery store, from work, and pick up groceries. Um, also, but the thing is, though, is that if I wanted to go to one of two comic book stores, I would pass by multiple ShopRites on the way to the comic book store. So if I was on my way home from the comic book store and I just wanted to pick something up without going out of my way, I'd go to ShopRite. Okay, I personally preferred Acme. I thought it was much cleaner than the ShopRites. But again, if the weather was bad, or if I was just like I said, I didn't want to go out of my way and I was passing by one, I would go to the ShopRite. Same thing was like on the weekends. And let's say I wanted to go get a movie from a video store. There, right in the strip mall where the ShopRite was, there was an old school mom and pop uh, video store. Same thing, like a block away, there was a shop. There was a Blockbuster. So again, you're going to get a movie. You want something to eat. Right there's ShopRite. So it had to do with convenience. Okay, but people are brand loyal. Okay, so let's look at it this way. Okay, they launch and fund my comic first. Okay, and they launch and fund my comic first, which makes sense because Luke Stone has always said, if you launch on my platform, I'll give you a higher percentage back, which means that all these platforms they take a certain amount of money. Okay, he's saying, okay, instead of 3%, I'll do 2% if you do your first 30 days on my platform. That's a big incentive, especially for smaller creators. Maybe not so for like Graham, which is the piece that I'm working on now, his Monster Island. Okay, so maybe not Graham. Okay, because Graham's even said, until he sees Fund My Comic pulling in the numbers like Indiegogo, he doesn't see a sense because Indiegogo and Fund My Comics essentially they do have the same market of audience. Okay, but the Zayd brothers, they're not as big as Graham. They do Fund My Comic first, so they do the first 30 days and they only do get charged 2% as opposed to 3%. That's a big deal. Okay, it's a lot more money in their pocket. So then, after they've done that, they do, let's say, they do Indiegogo. Okay, and it doesn't do as well. They put a minimum amount of like it only has to do $500, and they squeak by with only, let's say, after initial funding of 60 days, they do instead of doing like the 500 is the minimum, and they do $750. Okay, they've picked up more backers. More importantly, what they've done is that even though they have a website, they have a tier built in for you to get all the previous books. Okay, remember, all these previous books are already paid for. So if you get somebody who backs and they don't just get the book, they get all the past books. Those books have already been printed and already paid for. So that money is more profit for how many books they're able to order when they go to order. Okay, and remember, how much money they have depends on depends on how many they can order, which then determines what the cost is. So now let's pull in Indiegogo. They have the opportunity with Indiegogo, because remember, anybody who goes to conventions, a lot of people, a lot of fans, when you talk to them, they know about Kickstarter. They don't know about Fund My Comic or Kickstarter or Indiegogo. Okay, so you have a whole new market of fans with Kickstarter that have never heard of you before. Why is this a benefit? Well, the biggest is they get to say, hey, in the campaign, hey, we're the Zaid brothers, or the Diaz brothers, this is Zaid Comics. We've been doing books for 5 years. Okay? Right there, okay, for any prospective backer, right off the bat, they know that these guys have been doing this for 5 years. They have a track record of fulfilling their campaigns. That's big these days because that instills confidence in the backer that when they give them their money, they're not going to have it stolen from them. They are going to they're going to have that book made. Okay. Second, they get to advertise on Kickstarter that this is their very first Kickstarter campaign. Again, they get to actually push that to a whole new audience. Hey guys, that's excitement. Okay, and they can put that in the part of the campaign. So again, it creates enthusiasm amongst the Kickstarter backers. Like, oh wow, these guys are okay. They've got 5 years. But most importantly, with Kickstarter, they can have built into their tiers. Here's the tier for the brand new book, but here's the tier for all the previous books, which are already printed, and you will get them shipped to you together. Remember, those books are already paid for. That means that if you get a buyer from going from $25 up to $50, up to $75, that's that's you could say that's profit, but you could also say that's the determining whether they're able to order 500 books versus 800 books, which is big. You want to be able to have, because how many books you're able to order is vital for these guys. Okay? The difference, and you get that with the backers. So let's say through Fund My Comic, they do 500 backers. Okay? Then through Kickstarter, they do 150. Or in in Indiegogo, they do like 150, 200 backers because people are loyal to Indiegogo and they know how to use the platform, whatever the personal reason is. Okay? Then you go to Kickstarter. Kickstarter, they get 100 backers. And you're like, oh man, these guys didn't do well. But you look at what those backers did. Did they back just the book, or did they back the tier for all the books? So they could have more money earned on Kickstarter with less backers. And again, having that money coming in gives them the ability to, it might be the determining factor versus, okay, are they able to buy these books from the printer, and the cost, is it going to be $5 a book, or is it going to be $3 a book? That's a big profit margin for your printing of your books. And that's where doing Kickstarter makes all the difference. Because remember, in the end, that is what your goal is you want to maximum your number of backers. And we have to all admit, okay, the CG independent landscape, it's getting to the point where we can only go so far. We gotta go to where the audience is. That's why I'm always saying, like, the guys joked and they said, "Whoa, looks like Vaughn's entering a contest. Be Doritos." Okay. When I say be Doritos, Phil, what I mean is did Doritos become Doritos by only selling their product in one retail grocery store? No. You can go to any gas station, any convenience store, almost any retailer, and they have Doritos. Why? Doritos went to where the customer is. And they didn't say, no, you need to go to this retailer. The example being difference between uh, Target and Walmart. Okay, they don't have it where you can only buy Doritos at one retailer. They're like, no, you can buy them anywhere, and that's why Doritos is Doritos, is because you can get them anywhere. Phil and his brother, God, why am I Phil and Brandon have the opportunity to go to where the customer is. They have the opportunity to be Doritos. So that way, when they do future campaigns on Kickstarter, they have the ability to bring in repeat backers who are loyal to Kickstarter. Remember, a lot of these fans, when you talk to them in stores, stores or at conventions, they don't know about Fund My Comic. They don't know about Indiegogo, but they know about Kickstarter. Why? Because Kickstarter's been around the most. It's got the biggest track record for. That's the reason why so many former professionals, when they want to do their own book, that's the reason why they go to Kickstarter. Are there drawbacks to Kickstarter? Yes. Biggest being that you can only have it for 30 days, or I think they expanded it where you can do now 60 days or 45. I forget what it is. But the thing is, though, is you gotta have it. Same thing with Andy and Dennis. They're recognizing it. They're like, hey, we want to our maximize the number of backers we have. We need to go to Kickstarter because we know that there's a huge market there. Most importantly, the backers know that Andy Smith is a former professional. You get a lot more of normal comic book fans backing on Kickstarter than you do on Indiegogo or Fund My Comic. Now, where the Zaid brothers might be able to help draw eyes to their campaign uh, is for them to get someone more mainstream, a more of a name, to do a cover for them. Okay, we'll use Andy again. Okay, or let's use Andy. Okay, they go to Andy. Go, Andy, can we get a cover from you for our campaign on Kickstarter? Because we know that his name's going to make more people stop and check out it because they're going to have right on the more people will recognize Andy Smith's work. And this isn't a negative versus say Joe Ball. Okay, Andy Smith's name or Andy Smith's artwork in that thumbnail might be a lot more recognizable to get more people stopping and checking out that campaign. And then when they get in, they look at the artwork from that Andy Smith did a variant cover for him, but here's the regular cover, and here's the artist we have, and they might be like, wow, look, check out this artist. This art's pretty good. So, and then lastly, again, we talk about how the markets, this space for backing is getting to the point where we've gotten all the fans we can get. Okay. How do we get more fans there? Well, go to shows, go not necessarily shows, go to streams that they do Kickstarter. Okay. The example I'll give you is Dave Finch. Okay. Dave Finch, when he did his art book, from all the artwork they did on his channel, he did through a Kickstarter. Okay. So Dave Finch has a Kickstarter audience. So if the Zay brothers, if Brandon and Phil can get onto Dave Finch's channel, that helps them out. Okay. Same thing as if they were to go to uh, uh, the Drink and Draw stream with Panosian and Johnson and Collins. Okay. that is again their Kickstarter audience. So if they're doing their campaign on Kickstarter and they're able to get onto the drink and draw stream, okay, that helps out because that's a Kickstarter audience to give them more opportunities to get more eyeballs on their campaign. And I think about because like those guys, the drink and draw guys, they don't really dive into the independent scene. Okay, but I look at one of the world deals where it's like one of the biggest problems or one biggest challenges, not a problem, but a challenge with these creators when they do their draw streams is keeping the conversation flowing. Having someone like Phil Diaz on while they're doing their drawing helps out because Phil's not drawing. He's not an artist. It gives him the ability to watch the chat for them, keep the conversation going, and then in turn, they give him the opportunity to promote his book. And he does a very good job of promoting his book. So, but that's my opinion on why I think it's very good for the Zaid brothers to have their book available on Kickstarter and Indiegogo and Fund My Comic. It gives them a chance to really get out. Because remember, and I'm just using this as the example, but it's a going on multiple platforms can be a big difference to these guys as to whether it costs $5 a book or $3 a book. Okay, so that's where I look at it, where it's like it's really important for these guys to be able to get out and maximize exposure. And any creator, you take a look at Whoops, sorry about that, guys. Hit the stand. Didn't mean to. But that's where like Vaughn Coleman. Okay, we've all seen Vaughn Coleman and how he has been working so hard with his book, and he keeps us He keeps us, and he's even said, "Hey, guys, I've issue 2 is already in the works. Issue 1's going to be closing out soon because it's about to go to print. I need to get my orders in." He has shown that you have success, and remember, even a small success on Indiegogo and Kickstarter in the long run can have big benefits for these creators. Okay? Because remember, I still look at where it's like their biggest strength with going to Kickstarter is having that tier, so a new backer can get all the books all at once, and that way that money even though that money is going towards getting the 4th book published, they've got those those tiers with all the other books already there, prepared to be sent out to the borrower. They don't have to scramble to get those reprinted. They made that money with the previous campaigns. So, tell me what you think. Am I completely off my rocker and am I wrong? Am I wrong with my opinion? Please let me know in the comments. Remember, I don't know whether you think I'm right or wrong unless you tell me. Just as a like and a comment go a long way. Just as I can't guarantee that I'll get you to subscribe to my channel unless I ask you. Now, what's my channel about? It's about this. I work in my dive bar. It's where I get my work done. More importantly, you take a look, okay? All my work is stippled. Even these lines here that you look at and go, no, they're not straight lines, they're not inked lines, they're all stippled. Okay, the only place where I have it is right here. I use a brush to get that straight black. Okay, but you should take a look at the rocket gorilla guy. He's all stippled. Rooster's completely stippled. In fact, I gotta go in here after I get done with this video. I gotta finish his cape here. So you can see how I'm working. Same thing up here. This rock here is about done. Tomorrow I'm probably going to erase it. So if you tune in tomorrow, you can watch me as I erase these pencil lines, and that way you can really get a sense of how it looks with Gomer falling with uh, just the inks, because I erase the lines, the pencil lines. So, guys, I hope you guys have a great day. I had a ball doing this video, but remember, there's always challenges in life. Life is stressful. It's the reason why you just take it all one dot at a time.